Hi, and welcome to special episodes of Conversations Beyond the Pew, where we are digging into the biblical text. And these sessions, these episodes, are going to be focused on chapters of the Bible. Specifically, we're going to start in Genesis. And what you can expect is that every week, there's going to be an episode released on Tuesday and on Thursday that are looking for the most part at one chapter, sometimes maybe two, depending on the length of it. But this is an opportunity for us to look at the passages of Scripture with a lens towards, all right, who are the authors? What's going on historically? Why is this being written about? How would the audience have heard this? Understanding of literary genres, looking at schools of thought. Some are written from a school of the priestly class or the Yahwehist, and just even beginning to understand what does that exactly mean and how does it impact how certain things are written. We are going to ask difficult questions that have us looking at the Hebrew and, when we get to it, the Greek of the time, because different languages express things differently, of course. And so we are going to be beginning to look at all the different sides of the Scripture. And it is my hope that as we read through these things, we will begin to gain a deeper understanding of who God is, of who we are, of knowledge and wisdom around Scripture, and how does that impact us today? Are these things relevant that were written about thousands of years ago, still relevant in our lives? And my hope is that as we go through this journey, that we will begin to find new things and that we will be inspired in ways that we never thought we would be before. It's also my hope that we will ask questions, that we'll go, I don't know about that, or what could that possibly mean? Or, oh, maybe I'm not so in tune to that. But we will go on that journey together. Now, if you're thinking about, all right, how do I prepare for this? Or maybe I want to get a different Bible. Maybe you've got one that you really like, and that's great. Or maybe you're looking for something different. And I will make sure to put these in the show notes, these recommendations. And one of the recommendations is, all right, the Westminster Study Bible, the New Revised Standard Version, updated edition with the Deuterocanonical and the Apocrypha. And just to recognize, even if you're like, I don't know about the Apocrypha, that's okay, because it's helpful in just understanding that it exists. Or the New Oxford Annotated Bible with Apocrypha, New Revised Standard Version. And you may be going, what's up with the New Revised Standard Version? The New Revised Standard Version is understood to be a very academic and in-depth translation from the Greek and the Hebrew. And so it is respected amongst scholars. But if you're thinking, I don't know about that, I want something a little bit easier on the ears, you can get the Common English Bible Translation Study Bible. And I often read from that because it is a little bit easier to understand. And that translation was actually commissioned by 70 different denominations of coming together going, all right, we need a translation that is easier for people to understand because it's in the language of right now. And so whichever one you decide, cool. Now, we are going to start with Genesis, and Genesis is really important for us to begin with. Not only is it meaning, right, the beginning, but also because it starts us with stories that are alluded to, that are referenced, that are important to the rest of the biblical text, that no matter what book we are examining, there's something about Genesis that impacts, even into the New Testament, some of the stories that we get there with Jesus, of looking at and understanding those stories out of Genesis and how they absolutely set the stage, set the tone, are part of how people understand and are living in different periods and times. And so we will begin on Thursday, January 1st, 2026, with looking at the overview of Genesis to give us a foundation of how do we understand this? How can we begin to discern? And then next week, we will get into Genesis 1 and Genesis 2, the creation stories, two very different creation stories. So I'm looking forward to this journey. And my hope is that you will enjoy this journey as well. And if you have questions along the way, which I hope you do, that you will submit those questions so that I can answer them in almost real time, that they can be part of challenging us and deepening our understanding and our conversations with one another. May your year be a blessing. May this be a year where you understand God, yourself, and Scripture more deeply so that you have more love and peace. May you be blessed.